Well, the Premiers of New South Wales and Victoria have given in to the Prime Minister's demand they put more money into disability services. The backdown followed a day of public outrage directed against Conservative states opposed to the insurance scheme's funding plan. It's a significant victory for the Prime Minister and has been welcomed by disability advocates who'd long called for reform. Political correspondent Tom Iggulden reports from Canberra.
The Victorian Premiers endured 3 days of mounting outrage over his tussle with the Prime Minister.
It's so vital. I mean, we should have this bloody thing 30 years ago.
The rising anger swept Julia Gillard's leadership issues well into the background.
All right, Prime Minister, you'll be pleased to know we've got through a whole interview and I haven't mentioned that question once, and I don't intend to.
Well, there's only one question today, and that's whether 5,000 people in Victoria who have profound disabilities will get a better deal.
Yeah, I agree.
And late this afternoon, so too did Ted Ballieu, caving into the Prime Minister's demands to stump up $42 million to get the scheme off the ground.
Well, it's not a back down at all. It's entirely consistent with the Commonwealth funding the expansion.
The big states are in the middle.
The move ends 3 days of finger-pointing, at times encouraged by the federal opposition, who accused the Prime Minister of dishonesty over her negotiations with Liberal premiers.
I take the view that this scheme is just too important to play political games with, and I have never sought to do that.
Sit down.
Advocates are hailing the breakthrough.
I've talked today to, since the announcement, to people who are overjoyed, crying with relief.
Voila.
Fantastic.
There we go.
The announcement came after Julia Gillard spent the morning with disability sufferers in a cafe in Geelong.
Chose a great latte, you did.
You reckon?
I enjoyed it.
The Victorian Premier's announcement gives the Prime Minister's plan for the area the green light.
Specifically, we will see a launch site in the Geelong and Barwon region in Victoria. She barely broke her stride despite a blackout during the press conference to announce the news. Everybody's still okay out there? Just checking, no one's scared in the dark out there? Good.
There's remaining work to do with New South Wales, which still hasn't agreed to the $70 million Julia Gillard's asked it for.
We are very happy to provide the additional $35 million and meet halfway.
But the Prime Minister's optimistic a deal will be done and a trial site will be launched in the Newcastle area. The state disability ministers defending how long it's taken the Victorian and New South Wales state premiers to agree to what Julia Gillard put on the table before Wednesday's COAG meeting.
Who weren't prepared, on the back of an envelope in the Parliament House of the nation, to start to do calculations and rush this process.
The Prime Minister says the breakthrough's a win for the disabled and their families.
It's saying to all of us very loudly how much people care about the fortunes and futures of those with disability in our community today. That's a great thing. Thank you very much.
The Prime Minister's showed an all-too-rare ability to tap into real public concern on this issue. This is a victory for her too, albeit not one quite on the scale of those who'll benefit most from the scheme, thousands of Australians with disabilities and their families who can now hope for a better future. Tom Iggulden, Lateline.